got to get the viewers, you got to get the attention, you know. John and I should take a tip from that. We should be trying to do more clickbaiting and get more people in here to watch us. I need Hooters girls out here picking up the brass or something. What's wrong with us? Some crazy title on everything. Sorry, ladies, I didn't mean to offend you, the Hooters girls. But I'm a guy. Even if I am crazy, I'm still a guy. So anyway, that's just the way it is. And I guess while I'm on that topic, the social media tip of the day, or warning. Warning. I almost feel obligated, since we have a pretty good sized audience. Maybe it's the old teacher in me or something, although I never really, I don't consider myself a teacher. I just taught. But I did spend time sometimes in class, because it was language arts, English, and so forth. Commercials and media and everything has always been of interest to me, in the sense of the language that's used and how they say things. It's like same old deal, like 7 out of 9 dentists recommend that this might help, or whatever. And kind of take apart that line. Okay, 7 out of 10. Which 7? It's the 7 out of 10 they picked out. Or recommend. What do you mean by recommend? Where'd they recommend it? They recommend that this might help prevent cavities or something. Okay, it might help prevent, just the words there. So they're really saying nothing, are they? They're not lying, they're just not really saying anything. And so it's always been of interest to me, and I've used that to some extent, in classes with young people. And we have a lot of young people that watch. And that's just one of the things that I'm reminded of as I absorb media, because I do, I watch some of the sports shows, I listen to some sports talk occasionally. I confess to liking Colin Cowherd. I follow him. I've caught him on the radio over the years, and we went to Fox. I found that on TV, and I think even on my XM radio, and I catch him sometimes. I don't agree with him on everything, but he's a very thoughtful, he's a thinking person, and I'm impressed with him on a lot of levels, even if I wouldn't agree with him on everything. But anyway, I absorb a lot of media. And because I listen to some sports talk shows, so I'll preach a little bit more. This week I was thinking, you know what? They were talking about, I was watching, I think it was on Fox, what is it, Fox Sports 1, or whatever it is, wherever Colin Cowherd is and all the shows. But I go back and forth between ESPN. If there's something going on in sports, I want to hear what they're saying about it, or ball game. And so ESPN or Fox Sports 1. And there were 3 or 4 people sitting around a table having a discussion, and they literally used terms like they were congratulating a caller or somebody because he had a fresh take on something, and then they discussed it, and someone else had a hot take. I think their show, hot take, you got a hot take, call us, that kind of thing. And what they mean by that, and I've talked about this before, they mean a kind of a unique perspective on something, maybe some basketball player, some football player, some event. What's your take on it? Call in and tell us what you think. And so they value a fresh perspective on something, a different angle, they call it, a hot take, a different take on something. That's what they're looking for, because they sit around and discuss it all day long, so they want to hear different takes, and some analyst that has a different take on it, or a hot take on it, as they call it. Why? Well, they got to get viewers, right? They've got a show, they've got advertisers, so they want to keep it really interesting. Unlike me, they want to keep it really interesting. And they just admit that, hot takes, and then they just praise people for having a hot take. And really, you think about it, that's kind of the way the regular news is too, or regular TV, or the internet, or YouTube, or social media, or whatever it is. That anywhere anybody is trying to get viewers, attention, clicks, right? They're looking for something really different, unique, maybe crazy, to get attention. And how do you do that? You get a different perspective on things. You get someone, you get as many people as you can, and maybe sometimes it's crazy perspective. It's a unique perspective. It's a totally different outlook on something. Nothing wrong with that, except that it occurs to me that maybe it's kind of where the hipster movement came from, whether that's mythical or not, where people reject the standard thinking or conformity or just the conventional way of thinking about something, just because it is conventional or accepted. And it's a whole lot more interesting to have a different take on something, isn't it? A lot more interesting to be a little crazy or bizarre about something. Plus you'll get attention that way, right? You'll get attention. We all want attention, right? So I don't know, I think that the regular news is kind of the same thing. You got to have a different take. You got to have something crazy to think about, a different way to think about it, different way to look at it, something to get more viewers. And the average person who's not very sophisticated yet, who is 15 years old or 12 years old or 20 years old or whatever, they're popping on the news or the sports show, whatever it is. How does that affect them? Or social media, they're watching videos, or they're on their Facebook, or they're on YouTube, or they're anywhere they are. Everything coming at them is extreme. It's an extreme take on stuff, on everything. And kind of their selection of choices and what they think about things is coming from this hot take cupboard. All the shelves, in that cupboard, they're choosing for their menu, for the analogy, it's all this wild stuff and hot take stuff that's mainly designed to get attention, and because it's different, it's great, it's high quality. Why? Because it's unique, it's different. Does that make any sense? So I don't know, I just wonder how it affects people who don't kind of see through it or don't think about it very much. And obviously I overthink it, don't I? But I've always been a little analytical about media and the psychology of the media and how they throw things at us, Because it's not an evil thing. That's just marketing. It's just what they do, There are people right now sitting around a conference table. Probably looks just like this one, you think? Like somebody hammered it together with nails like I did, has guns like. I doubt it. It's probably polished, and it's walnut, and it's really nice. And they've got their coffee. And they're having a marketing meeting this morning. I used to be in business, different businesses, so about 9 o'clock in the morning you might have a marketing meeting or something. And there's 4 or 5 people sitting around. The director of marketing's over there, and so they're right now trying to decide how they can sell this soap powder or this dishwashing detergent, or this handgun grip, or that camera I'm looking at. What's the best way to market this thing? What will get people's attention? What can we say about it? We're going to put together a commercial. There you go. Let's go to the advertising company. They're having a meeting. They're going to put it together a commercial. So they're trying to decide how to sell this camera or this soft drink or whatever it might be, this bullet. And a phone. Where's my phone? Yeah. They're trying to decide how to sell this phone. Okay. So, well, let's see. This phone is kind of like all the other phones. So what do we say about it other than it's got a pretty good battery? I know what we could say. Let's not say much about it other than let's just put it in the hands of some pretty people. And if we can make them look cool enough while they're using this phone, we'll sell it to people. So it's marketing. It's just marketing. So I don't know if any of that made any sense, but I don't care. Is what it comes down to. I'm weird. I'm not necessarily an old fuddy-duddy, but when I'm listening to even sports talk, you don't have to have 12 hot takes for me. You analysts are pretty smart. Have 2 or 3 of you guys talking about, or gals, talking about the game yesterday. Just tell what you think. I don't care that Harry from Kansas calls in and he's got some crazy hot take, and you're going to use that for the next 20 minutes, and that other people, because it's unique, and it's really unique. Yeah, it's unique because nobody else thinks it. There's a reason no one else thinks that way. But you're trying to get views out of it, and you're trying to keep the show crazy and hot, and I don't know. I think the bottom line is, and you already know, don't you? I'm just too old. Well, I don't think that's it. I think too much, you know, because I've never been one. I've never been really, believe it or not, I don't know, like an old fuddy-duddy much. Probably on some things I have, but as I kind of told you guys, I was the first kid on the block to have a computer, so to speak. I went and bought an Apple II like in '81. '81. I didn't know anybody, you know, had an Apple computer. No one hardly even had a microcomputer at the house. I mean, almost nobody. Percentages other than a Radio Shack, Trash 80 or something, you know. The real nerds are into it and playing games on it and stuff. I bought an Apple 10 years before most people had them, okay? You know, I saw it as a way to type and to edit my writing. Really cool, you know, and then manage a territory. I was in sales for part of the time, and I was tracking a territory and stuff, so I learned how to use a spreadsheet. When most people didn't know what, if you said spreadsheet, that was like, what? What's that? What planet are you from? You know? So I've never been resistant to change. Glocks, believe it or not, it's ironic, but now, you know, people will call you kind of an old fuddy-duddy if you're still carrying Glocks and you still like Glocks. It's really humorous because back in the late 80s, mid-80s, late 80s, you were like, wow, what is that space age thing? Give me my 1911 or my steel revolver, you know? And here I was buying those things and using them in competition. You know, I think I was the first one to shoot a 40 cal. I wasn't afraid to go to 40 in whatever that was, 90, I guess, and was either the first or one of the, I think, two first people in this state to shoot a 40 in a state or in a IPSC match, you know, a Glock, and that kind of thing. I mean, I've never been afraid of trying something new. So I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm just kind of letting you know a little bit about me. You know, I'm not afraid of new things, but I do overthink, as you can tell, right? And overanalyze things sometimes. And I like to have that shield against media kind of in my brain. And I'm afraid a lot of people don't have that protective shield, or maybe filter is a better analogy, that when you do have the news on, or you have talk radio, or you have anything, you need to have a filter that, and you know, there in your brain, programmed, you know, and of course we all have that. It's just that I just am concerned about young people, you know, or people that are not very sophisticated, that they're soaking all that stuff up and they're not seeing the motivation, the agenda, you know, there. Because most people have an agenda, including John and me. We want you to watch. We just don't get crazy to make you watch. Excuse me, we try to provide some, you know, information and a little entertainment, but mostly some information. That's how we try to get you to watch what we do, okay? So everybody has an agenda, and it's not an evil thing, you know? There's nothing necessarily evil about the news or anybody I'm talking about wanting you to watch what they're doing. But just be aware of that agenda and what they're doing to get you to tune in and to stay tuned in, I guess is my point. So kind of preaching to the younger folks out there, maybe, to just some things to think about, you know. Maybe one of the best answers is click off all the media, you know, about 99% of the day, and then just live a real life, you know. Go out in the woods like me and talk to a camera. All right, enough on that. I got on my soapbox. It is one of my soapboxes, and I do bring that up occasionally because I think because, like you, I absorb a lot of media, and so I think about that as I'm driving my car and, you know, watching the news or whatever, and I think about things people say and how they're trying to convince me of something or to sell me something. So it is always on my brain. It has to be. And I'm thinking about, wow, I didn't fall for that. You know, that's pretty obvious what they're doing there, why they're saying that, or the word they chose and all that. And it occurs to me quite often, I hope other people see that, you know. So